Good morning, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me for Clarity Before Crisis. I wanted to start by saying I appreciate everybody who has looked at my channel. So thank you for your support, and let's get to it. Need to get a sip. Good coffee. Now, this video is from somebody who I really read his Art of War. When I was fired, I actually went back to that book that my husband gave me, and I started looking through all of the quotes because I was really upset about it. Sometimes we look at firing, being laid off, as like a personal attack against what we know to be true. My firing led to me being here with you today and starting a YouTube channel, among other things. Opportunities that are starting to come into my lap that I could never dream of, both professional and personal. If you have been laid off or fired, this video is for the moment when you were Zoom fired like me, emailed. I've seen friends that have been fired in an email and there wasn't even spell check done. This video is for you. Panic looks different to all of us. If your mind is racing, if your palms are getting sweaty, it doesn't mean that you're weak. What it means is that something important just broke. Your body is identifying a stress, an anxiety, a trigger that it wasn't prepared for. Job loss makes you challenge all the things that you believe in yourself. It also makes you start worrying about safety and your sense of control. Because let's face it, a lot of us who are boomers, Gen Xers, many of us might be at the same job that we've had since we got out of college or we were young. We had that loyalty, which now we are knowing that it's a false sense of security. People that depended on us, they could count on us because we were doing everything right. Being fired out of left field changes that dynamic. It makes us start tearing apart what we know to be true. That is, we did nothing wrong. They had a problem, and it became our problem. If you are stressing because you're going to get 1 or 2 more paychecks, maybe you've been told about a severance package, or you're thinking of, oh, can I sell my PTO that I didn't use? All different dynamics. Your first thought is relatively smart. I'm going to have a gap in my income. Whether I'm the breadwinner, whether I'm single and it's my one and only job, I'm going to have bills to pay. Should I be calling my landlord, my credit cards? Not right away. You need to sit with the feeling. In my personal opinion, you need to mourn the loss. You need to feel the impact, not listen to the talk in your head. Just breathe. Strategy comes next. But first, give yourself some time to get through it. Pushing through things can sometimes make things worse. Getting back to Sun Tzu, in case you don't know who he is, a strategist named Sun Tzu warned about moments exactly like this. In the midst of chaos, there is also opportunity. And like I said, when I went back to read this book again and went through the quotes, every quote, even though it's talking about being a warrior, knowing your enemy, strategizing, which is a lot of what he talks about, use this in your new chapter in your life. He's just one that I resonated with. He's a strategist. I also do feel like he's a philosopher. My dad, who gave me the first Art of War, we were driving home, and I remember my dad asking, who does Yoda remind you of? I said, Sun Tzu. My dad said, you're right. Sun Tzu is the epitome that he believed was Yoda. So maybe you're smiling, maybe you're laughing, maybe you're drinking a cup of coffee, maybe yours might be an Irish coffee. Mine's not. But I'm hoping watching my video will bring some clarity and redirection into your thought process while you're going through this very difficult time. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. Opportunities don't show up when there's panic. Sun Tzu does talk about preparation. The more you're prepared, the better your outcome's going to be. In his strategizing, it was usually in battle. It shows up when you slow down enough to think clearly. If you saw the thumbnail, Spock is probably my favorite character. Spock taught us when emotions spike, logic has to lead or bad decisions follow. We don't make the greatest decisions when we're coming from emotionality, being really angry or sad. This is not the moment to redefine your worth either. It's the moment to stabilize your thinking. Don't let their words hurt any more than it needs because they erode our confidence. In this video, I'm going to show you how Sun Tzu's thinking applies directly to the job loss. How this moment can become a turning point in what feels like your whole world's collapsing may actually be a blessing in disguise. It was for me. It probably feels like everything hit at once. Boom. Not just your job, but your sense of direction. Because when this happens, the instinct to fix, to prove, to react is our core instinct. Most advice after job loss pushes urgency, like update your resume, apply everywhere, reaching out to recruiters, which might be something that you want to do, but there's time for that. Take a few days. Look at your options. Speeding through the emotions without clarity creates mistakes that you don't see until later. And this is the point where you don't want to make a mistake. That was my instinct when I got fired. Sun Tzu believed chaos doesn't just destroy, chaos reveals. And that was one thing that made me pause my resume, because it exposes what was unstable. It shows you what you were tolerating, and it forces the truth into view and to gain perspective and transparency. For me personally, as you know, I'm a widow, and I was not the breadwinner. I have been very open that I have a child that has a disability. My job was always secondary to the needs of my child. So my income was never counted on. When my husband passed away very unexpectedly, it shifted me to start side hustles. I've been a tutor and I've done other things, but it wasn't as dire. So I think when I was fired, I started realizing that some of the jobs that I'm taking are not jobs that I would have ever taken if my husband was alive and still the primary breadwinner. I could have been more selective, if that makes sense. This moment isn't asking you to decide everything. It's asking you to pause long enough to see clearly. When you start having a belief system that might tear you apart, you're going in the wrong direction. When I was fired, I thought I was starting from zero. I was pretty pissed. I cried, I was scared, and I was questioning my value. But the truth was, I'm not starting from zero, and neither are you. I was starting from experience, professional experience, personal experience, and hard-earned life experience. And for the first time, I stopped living inside somebody else's words and their script. I was reading all their ideas, and I started writing my own. The title of this video, the entire concept of it, in the midst of chaos, there is opportunity. I was like, why am I letting what they say impact me? Yeah, the word firing is pretty bad. I've never been fired before, and I'm not making light of it. It's traumatic. It brought a lot of feelings up, and it resonated with the feeling of when life has dealt you a card that you have no playbook for. What do? I am seeing the landscape of people in my age group that are being fired, laid off. Now what? People don't want to hire older people, at least not in the long-term context. So I started reevaluating my role in my life, what I'm going to say yes to, what I'm going to tolerate from people in my life and from outside sources. I started making a list of what I truly want, what my goals are. I want you to make a list of what you're good at. Maybe you make fantastic breakfast burritos. Shoot some video of that. Put it on YouTube. Maybe you build Legos. You can see those behind me. Start reinforcing what you already know. Anything that you think you're good at. I don't mean what other people say that you're good at. That's another list. Things that you know that you are good at. Make a list because it will help you. It will reframe the negative talk that you have no worth, because that is kryptonite. That is your kryptonite. You're going to turn all of those things on the list into your superpower, because by God, everybody has a superpower. Even if you're a young person, you went to school, you might have went to college. It says your first job. You learn things with your new job. You don't have to be in the workforce for 20, 30 years to have life experience. So don't discount what you know. So going through this, it led me here with you. I kept putting on my list, I want to get in front of more people. I have sat with many people, young couples, young workers after college that need to get life insurance now. So many of us were out of sync with the right timing, and every 10 years or so, there is a systematic point when you should be looking into different kinds of insurance. I call it laddering. So this isn't just about older people, it's about younger people too. I want to get out there with my own script, with my own instincts, my own personal and professional experience. So here I am. And I'll tell you, YouTube's probably harder than any insurance exam I've ever gone through. It went totally out of my comfort zone and my wheelhorse. One of the biggest mistakes people make after job loss is trying to carry it alone. I can't highlight this enough. Your family matters. Don't do this alone. Protecting them from telling them you got fired or laid off is not something that I recommend anybody doing, including if you're a young person and you're living at home and you've been fired or laid off. Your family, your spouses, your children, these are people that are your bedrock that you trust. Also the people that it's going to impact, but they're also going to pivot and be there to support you. This is the one time in your life that you don't want to be alone. You don't want to carry this burden alone. Your family isn't just affected by this, but they're part of your solution. Sun Tzu understood that battles aren't fought alone. Neither are life transitions. So bring the people who love you into the room, not to panic them, but to plan, because they're going to be instrumental in supporting you in no matter what you decide to pivot. There are more opportunities today to reinvent yourself than there ever were before. But opportunity does not mean urgency. This is time to discover or rediscover what actually matters to you, like I did. What drains you, what energizes you, what you've been doing because you should, not because it fits. I'm putting it directly to you without having to follow somebody else's guidelines. So you have full transparency. Does it mean I'm right about everything? Nope. Does it mean there's other people out there that you should also talk to? Absolutely. Maybe my video makes you make a phone call to talk to a professional that you didn't think that you needed to talk to about something that you hadn't thought about before watching my video, or maybe you're on the fence about. Reinvention isn't a sprint, it's a process, and patience is part of the strategy. Starting this channel wasn't a rush decision for me. I did a lot of research. I'm an 80s kid. Some might say that my niche is all over the place, but it's not, because my biggest niche is education, compassion, transparency, and the insurance world. Ensuring the things that matter the most to you and making sure that you can take care of yourself and your family in a way that will protect the people that you love now, in the future, and when you're gone. Typically, HR reaches out to you right away. You're shell-shocked and they want to rattle off all these things. You want the call to end. You're making decisions potentially before you've had a chance to digest what's going on. I want to make a checklist that you can take with you when you have your HR call. In my checklist, it's going to go over benefits, health insurance, final pay, timeline, if you get a severance. But before we get practical, be patient with yourself. Be patient with your thought process. You'll have my checklist. Include your family in this decision making. Your spouse might have a question that maybe you never thought of. Don't panic, because that can really end up making bad permanent decisions. Now, if you're in the middle of this right now, you're not alone. This may feel like an ending, but it may also be a beginning. A beginning that is more aligned with who you are now is what you should focus on. This door closed, but it's also the key to another door or opportunity opening. Sun Tzu was right. In the midst of chaos, there's opportunity. But opportunity shows up when you slow down enough to see it. When your mind is running 1,000,000 miles a minute, you don't see what's right in front of you. So stay with me. We get practical. I'm going to walk you through the step-by-step through the HR checklist so that you know exactly what to confirm and what questions to ask. This is going to be your confirmation that you are moving into the next stage. This is also for people that are not fired. It's a blueprint to what you should have in the event that happens. You're going to go into the HR meeting ready to go. So I hope this video was both informative, inspirational, and maybe there's some levity in it, and you're smiling while you're drinking your coffee or Irish coffee. Thank you for joining me this morning. This pertains to anybody, even if you don't have severance. Just because you don't have severance, there are benefits that you will lose. And when you lose benefits, this is where I come in, you create gaps in coverage, which is not good to have. I want to go over that, whether you are 18 or you're 108. I want to make sure that in my next video, I go over the points that you need to touch on. My other piece of advice is don't sign anything within the first 24 hours that you've been terminated. Thank you for your time. Whether 2 of you watch this video or 200 of you watch this video, I'm here for you. Please leave comments. I would love to read your comments. Thank you so much and have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.